meditation music for us, nice and quiet. You just let me know if you'd like me to choose that as well. Okay, we have started our bless you. Hi, all my friends too. Guys, thanks for joining me this evening. I'm so happy you're here. I hope you're having a great new year.
Yes.
We're starting things off strong. Epiphany is on Tuesday, so that's our theme of the evening. Is leading with wisdom. Last week we talked about embodying what it is to have faith and to hold the hand of Christ through your life. So we're continuing that conversation just with some gentle touches first. So we'll have a seat with you in an easy seat, however's comfortable for you. And we're going to start with just our fingertips on our temples. So you can tap as low or as fast as you'd like. I encourage you to close your eyes for this movement. And you can just hold them there, just contacting your skin with your fingertips, nice and gently. Starting to align our breath with our movement in through the nose and out through the mouth. Fingertips still on those temples. We're moving them down now to the side of our jaw. Right at the base of our jaw, under the ear. Nice and gentle taps. This is called EFT tapping. And this is really beneficial for waking up that lymphatic system, getting things flowing, especially through the face here. 'Tis the season for sinus inflammation, all of the above. So these gentle taps are a great way to just get in touch with your breath. You can hold your fingers there nice and gently on these different points, temples, and now I'm here at my jaw, taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Great job, everyone. Now we're going to bring our hands down to our lap and pinch between our thumb and pointer with the opposite hand's thumb and pointer. So just a gentle pinch here. Here's another pressure point that starts to wake up that flow of energy in the body. We talked about somatic release last week, so we're continuing that conversation as well. And somatic release requires us to kind of flow through each sequence. So these movements can be more dynamic as we flow through them, as you feel more comfortable. I'm switching to the other hand now, again, between my thumb and pointer. Just a gentle pinch, pairing that movement, of course, with our breath. Becoming more dynamic as we go. We can start to switch from side to side, finding areas of tension. Bringing the hands up now to the shoulders, starting to round back from our elbows. So using my elbows, I'm just drawing a small circle back to open the shoulders. My hands are here at the top of my shoulders for some gentle support as I do so. And our goal here is to feel the chest open just slightly with our breath in through the nose and out from the mouth. We continue to pair these movements with our breath and then open the shoulders up, back, and down for an open chest. Keeping my hands here at my shoulders for just a moment. I continue my breath, finding stillness and finding center as I exhale my hands down to either side of my hips. So now I'm sat up tall. I'm extending from the spine. Imagining a string is kind of pulling up from the top of your head so that you're sat up tall and strong. And from here, we're going to lean back to our palms just slightly and bring our knees up in front of us. So we're taking that nice and slow. Feel free to take it as slowly as you prefer so that you can start to engage your abs through that movement and wake up the hips by moving the knees side to side gently. Breathing as we do so, of course, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just rounding out the hips from side to side, moving from the heel to the side of the foot. Those palms are keeping us steady at either side of our hips. And we continue our breath, finding that flow state. That's what we're looking for today is just flowing through these movements, becoming more dynamic as we do so. So again, you can take this as slow or as fast as you prefer. We're going to start nice and slow, pairing the movement with our breath. And as you feel more comfortable, you can speed up or lean into any areas of tension, or tension can be held in our hips oftentimes. So pay attention to if one side's tighter than the other. If you're noticing any tension in one area, we're going to kind of lean into that, breathe into it. Taking time now just to notice how the hips are feeling. Again, keeping that abdomen engaged as you do so. A slight squeeze through the lower stomach. Moving from the heel to the side of the foot. We'll exhale to stop here at the center and extend one foot out to the front, nice and slow, just by straightening out the knee. You can choose to keep this other knee up next to you, or you can bring it in towards your hips if you'd like to deepen a stretch, because now we're stretching just one hip at a time. I'm focusing first on the right, and I'm bringing the right side of my body towards my right side foot. So the right side of my right foot, I'm pulling very gently with the tips of my fingers if you're able. Otherwise, you can keep your hand here at your knee. You could use a block to provide some extra support here. And we're not worrying at all about straightening the knee all the way down to the ground. Feel free to keep that knee slightly bent here as you continue to breathe and deepen this stretch by closing the space between your knee and your chest. Stretching through the right side of the body here. Nice and slow as we exhale, we're continuing to close that space between the chest and the knee. We're going to stay here just for a moment, you guys, so we can start to open up that right side. Again, we're talking about some somatic release, and a lot of our tension in our bodies can be held in our hips, so that will be a lot of our focus today. We're taking some time just to stretch through that right hip, and let's share a prayer together. Creator God, O Holy One, thank you for bringing us together tonight with purpose, peace, and protection. Cover us and strengthen our minds, our bodies, and our hearts. Lord, guide our steps as we get back to our routines and resolutions this new year, and try to pour into ourselves too. Give us patience where we feel tired, clarity where we feel confused, and joy wherever stress tries to live. Bless our homes, our families, our finances, and our health. Keep us safe in every place we go, and let this week bring laughter, rest, and unexpected blessings. Amen. Again, pairing this movement with our breath, we could call this a prayer breath. So as we're breathing, we're filling ourselves with that love and light, and exhaling to share and serve. Embodying the faith that we feel. Great job, guys. Let's start to inhale and walk that hand back up to the side of our hips. Again, both hands will be at either side of my hips. And very gently, if you put that left leg towards your hips, we're going to bring it back up to our knee, the same way we started, flowing through these movements through this sequence. Again, just opening from the hips and taking notice as we do this movement, how tight our hip is feeling, especially that right hip that we've just stretched. So taking notice of how our hip is feeling on the side that we just stretched. Before again exhaling to stop in the center, and again extending the opposite leg down. An option here again is to bring the opposite leg in toward the hips. Now dynamic movement coming right down to close that space between our chest and our knee, and ensuring there's no pressure here to straighten this left knee. We can keep it slightly bent because our goal is to close that space again between the chest and the knee, stretching through the left side. Gentle pull at the left side of my left foot, just with my fingertips, bringing those toes up toward my head. And provide a deeper stretch here. Feel free to use a block as well toward your left side for some extra support here. So this new year again, we've been setting some new resolutions, some new goals. This could be a time of pressure or rush, but Epiphany brings us to continue a conversation about embodied faith, finding the feeling of renewal and great realization in these fleeting moments of life. So this new year is kind of forcing us, especially Epiphany, is forcing us to ask, where are we now? Who are we now? To see where our spirit is and impose our own goals or opinions about where we should be. Your goal tonight is to let go and let God, to allow Him to shepherd us to places and paths that we cannot see on our own. Tonight we would welcome Him faithfully. So as we're here, again, we're going to hold this pose for just a few moments more. As we do so, let's hear our verse of the evening. Then I realized that my heart was bitter. I was all torn up inside. I was so foolish and ignorant. I must have seemed like a senseless animal to you. Yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, leading me to glorious destiny. Amen. It's the word of God for us, the people of God. As we hear those words, let's continue our prayer breath. Again, breathing in deeply and exhaling fully as we deepen this stretch, closing that space again on our left side between our chest and knee. Great job, everyone. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. Exhaling fully for 1 more breath. And then walking the body back up as we inhale. This time, keeping the foot down if you've already put it there, and letting the other foot meet it by bringing both of the bottom of our feet together. I'm going to put my hands here at my ankles. You could also bring them here to your knee if you'd like some extra support. Blocks on either side would also be helpful if you'd like some extra support to stretch both sides of the hips now. We'll stay here for just a moment, finding our center. Again, imagining that string pulling up from the top of our heads. Just holding a still movement through our breath, and then exhaling to bring the knees together. And now stepping out to either side as we bring our hands back to the hips. Again, opening the knees side to side and noticing how that left hip is feeling now. Great job, everyone. So our hips should feel a little more flexible, a little more open. We should feel some flow there, some energy moving through the hips and the legs. Still keeping the abdomen engaged as we do this movement by gently squeezing or slightly tucking our sacrum, our tailbone. It's holding us here, keeping us steady. As are our palms, let's notice how our palms are feeling as well as we push at the base of our palms for some gentle steadiness at either side of our hips. Stopping again at our center, and this time bringing both legs out to center. So now we know what to do. We're going to bring our toes up and down for just a moment, ensuring that our legs are aligned before we start to close that space. Again, ensuring that our knees are not locked here. We don't want to cause any injury or discomfort by locking the knees. We're keeping them bent slightly if we need to. And closing that space between the chest and the knees by bowing our head down, so our gaze is toward our legs here, and our hands are walking up toward our ankles or sides of our feet with each breath. Providing a gentle push on either side of your foot can bring those toes up toward your head and deepen this stretch. But again, we're doing these movements without any pressure, without any rush, taking things as slow or as fast as we'd like, taking a notice and to how our body is feeling, because again, this new year can bring a lot of pressure, a lot of rush with our new resolutions, our new goals. We're starting this quarter of the year, this time with God, right? So our goal in this epiphany is to have Him at our side, allowing Him to hold our hand, to shepherd our spirit to places we cannot see. We welcome Him by building from a strong base, regulating our nervous system and our body, allows us to have security in ourselves, building our faith from something that is strong and sure. Doing so just with our breath, with a simple stretch, a simple moment of prayer. We nourish our bodies and spirits, building our faith from a strong base that is strong and sure. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths, again continuing to close that space between our chest and our knees. Before inhaling, keeping the legs out and bringing the hands to either sides of the hips. Great job, you guys. So we're keeping our toes out. You can stretch them again together, ensuring that the legs are aligned. Gluing those big toes together can help you do this. So imagine they're zipped up together. Continuing that zip up through the knees, all the way to the hips. Again, ensuring that our abdomen is slightly engaged here as we open the chest and allow our palms to support us. Great job, you guys. So now I'm going to come back to my right leg. You can choose whichever side you prefer. What we're going to do is bring it back into our hips. So my heel is going to come to meet my hips here. And I'm going to twist just my left hand to the side of my knees. So now my hands are square to my right side. And we're going to stay here for just a moment, get our body comfortable with this movement. Because again, we're getting back into these dynamic movements, starting to rock gently from front to back to the front of the knee, then back to the base of the palm, to the front of the knee, and back to the base of the palm. Our weight is shifting on this right hip. We're staying here for a moment in this dynamic movement, getting our body comfortable with switching from side to side. As we slowly start to windshield wiper this foot back, you can keep the knee bent here, or you can walk it all the way back, straightening out into pigeon pose. Coming up onto both palms now. So again, the palms are keeping me steady, and my gaze is between them so that I can start to align the hips as well, keeping them square over my mat as I exhale down to my forearms. Taking this nice and slow. Great job, guys. You can use a block here at your front as well to support you, or you could place it here under the right hip if you're finding any tension or pressure there, as you allow that right hip to melt down towards your mat. And you can continue that gentle rocking motion through the hips here, front to back, until you find your center, because our goal is to find a steady base, right? So we're trying to find our center, align our bodies to allow for a full stretch and release. This requires us to have some strength already, right? So we're finding what's comfortable for us, where our muscles are feeling secure and safe enough to stretch. Because in our verse of the evening, we hear that oftentimes we can get lost from the path that God is leading us towards, right? We can get caught in our own ignorance or foolishness. We can be senseless, is the word used in that verse. A senseless animal. Oftentimes when we're rushing or we're setting goals, they may not align with the path that God has set for us. So we're finding tonight wisdom in regulation. Again, regulating first our nervous system, nourishing our bodies, allowing our space for our spirit to connect so that we may let go and let God, allowing Him to shepherd our spirit, welcoming Him faithfully. Alright, we're going to bring the palms back to our mats. Start to walk them up. So we're again here in pigeon pose. My hands are on either side of my knee. And I'm going to bring my weight again toward that right hip. As I cycle back to that same motion, windshield wiper, this leg back. So that it's kind of like we're getting out of bed, right? So we're lifting up from both the knees down, still allowing our weight to sit here on the right hip. We can continue that motion, moving from the knee, and then back, knee, palm, knee, palm, until you're ready to push up from the palm, back up to the heels, straight back into our hip openers. Palms are holding us on either side of our hips, nice and slow, noticing how that right hip especially is feeling. We always come back here. This is like our baseline where we're going to check in with ourselves. Allowing that space for regulation and questioning. And then again, turning to the other side. So now my weight will rest here on my left hip, and my hands will follow on either side of my knee. You can windshield wiper that right leg back. Taking this nice and slow. Again, rocking from the hip to the hands before pushing off and walking that right leg back. Great job, guys. So the hips should be square, finding alignment again between the hips and the hands. Both should be about shoulder width apart, ensuring those hands are about shoulder width apart and my gaze is in the middle. From here, I'll start to stretch down to my forearms, closing that space between the chest and the mat. Aligning the chest with the spine here so that we can melt our hips down to our mat, closing that space, or simply placing a block here under the left hip. Allowing some release here. This is a great pose for somatic release, again because a lot of tightness and tension can be held in our hips. In this new year, we are questioning who are we, what do we want, what are our desires, right? And so the call here is to embody our faith and restructure that question to be, where is God? Where is God in our lives? And notice Him holding your hand. Notice the path that He has for you. And trust it fully, embodying our faith this epiphany. Great job. both sides. That's always important, especially through these dynamic movements. So we're creating a strong and aligned base. Oftentimes that spiritual warfare that we have within ourselves, those questions that we allow ourselves to fixate on, can supersede our need for truth. So we're taking this time tonight to step out and sit with God, to find flow in sequences. We're staying here for one more breath. Exhaling fully, melting down that left hip before pushing back up to the palms. Great job, guys. We're going to allow our weight to come back to that left hip. Again, almost as if we're getting out of bed, bringing that knee back up and rocking gently to prepare us palm to hip to come back to center. Exhaling to bring our knees back up. Very slow. Good job, guys. But we can check in on those hips. How are they doing? Knees side to side. Great job, guys. That is a great pose for release. So hopefully you're feeling some flexibility and flow through the hips now. Again, keep that abdomen engaged by tucking the sacrum just slightly and imagining that string pulling up from the head, pulling your spine to straighten and lengthen as you continue this gentle motion from heel to side of foot. Let's slow things down by staying right here in the middle. Sitting for just a moment on our sacrum. So this time we're noticing how our body is sitting as we slide back into an easy seat. Bring the hands here to the knees. Again, tucking that sacrum just slightly to keep the abs engaged at an easy seat. Just noticing how the tailbone is holding you here, how the hips are staying steady and grounding you here. Grounding is an important term in yoga, where we are literally melting ourselves with the earth around us, melting into our mats. So let's stay here for just a moment in an easy seat and imagine that melt from the base of your spine into your mat. We'll stay here for 2 more breaths. As you inhale, allow that string to pull up. Again, lengthening that spine. You exhale, melting down from the hips. Good job, guys. We've continued our somatic release, flow, circling through motions, making ourselves comfortable with them, not just physically, but spiritually too, in prayer. The same way we're making ourselves comfortable in creating that strong base of relationship with God. Grounding ourselves here as we ground ourselves with God, finding structure and freedom and faith. Great job. So now I'm going to lean over to this right side, just releasing the right hand, and then pushing into the right palm to bring the left with it. My left knee is going to come down next to my right, and you can practice a dynamic movement here, just rocking gently, or you can come right up to your knees, taking it as slowly as you need to, as we're coming up now to tabletop, starting to wake up our bodies in tabletop by stretching up with an exhale and down with an inhale. Switching, inhaling up and exhaling down. Moving from the chin for this cat-cow. To start to stretch the spine, you You can crunch gently at the hips, creating a slight curve from the belly button here. So pushing it down as you look up, and pushing that belly button up into the spine as we crunch down, our gaze between our knees here. Let's exhale fully and find alignment. Our hands and knees should be about shoulder width apart here. Great job finding that tabletop, guys. We'll stay here for just a moment, ensuring that our weight is distributed evenly between our palms, that our knees are about shoulder width apart, keeping those hips nice and square as we push them back toward our heels. I'm keeping my toes flat against my mat here and pushing the hips all the way back toward the heels as I stretch my fingertips up toward the front of my mat and allow my chest to melt down onto my knees. Your gaze here should be down so that you're not creating any tension or injury in the neck, especially if you'd like to place a block here at your forehead or use your hands as a pillow for support. We welcome you to do so because our goal is to relax and melt into your mat in this child's pose. Feeling the hips open as we push them back toward our heels. We'll stay here for a few breaths, just melting into our mat, allowing our body to relax. Fully in this position. If you'd like to come all the way down into your tummy, come back up to tabletop, whatever is comfortable for you, so that you can take some time to relax, melt your full body into your mat here. Because again, our focus is on release, both physically and spiritually. Our goal tonight is to release to God the tensions or pressures or rushing feelings that we might face as we approach this new year. We had such an amazing holiday, and now we're celebrating Epiphany this upcoming Tuesday. Epiphany is symbolic of realization, renewal, oftentimes it can be a symbol of finding light where there is chaos. And so as we look at our verse of this evening, we remember that there are times where we ourselves, our spiritual self, can be caught in spiritual warfare, where we are questioning things, where we are finding ourselves doubtful or confused. Tonight we're taking away those tensions through prayer. Again, inhaling love and light and exhaling to share and serve, embodying our faith fully, trusting His path for us, allowing Him to shepherd us to the path He has planned for us. Let's share a prayer together here. Movement making Spirit, we thank you for all the ways you call us to join our hearts and minds, our bodies and spirits together for the work of collective liberation. Empower us to keep our communities to the work of justice as we take up our roles of individuals and as a community in the unfolding story of your liberating love. Keep us moving always closer to your dream of peace and wholeness, freedom and flourishing for all people, until justice rolls down like a river and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Amen. This prayer is a call for us to serve others in our community, to embody our faith in the ways that we treat others, that we approach others, serving through Him and with Him. Let's start to stretch our fingertips back to the front of our mats now. Extending the spine fully here in child's pose, keeping that head down and hips back. You can start to wiggle the toes or the fingertips, waking up the body as you start to push back up from the hips towards the palms into tabletop. Nice and easy. Again, bringing the head up, belly button down, and then opposite. Chins in, punching in slightly from the sacrum, from the base of the spine. Continuing that gentle flow for a few more breaths. Exhaling down, inhaling up. Let's repeat that once more. And then come back to center, back to our tabletop, ensuring that our hands and knees are both about shoulder width apart. Now we're going to switch sides the opposite way that we came down. So I came down on my right side and coming down on my left, allowing my weight to shift to my left hip and my left palm. I will turn this way so you can see how I'm out on the side of my head, right? So my weight is shifted now to whatever side you're evening out, you're lying with. We're going to bring our hands back behind us now. Good, and open up those hips by bringing the knees up in front of you, so that both hips are now square with your mat. And then I'll show you how I'm coming down to my forearms, elbows, and shoulders. So again, if you didn't hear that sequence, it's your elbows, forearms, elbows, shoulders. So elbows always come before shoulders. They're going to help us come down nice and gently. I'm keeping those knees up for just a moment. If you like, you could bring one leg up at a time, gently pushing that knee into your chest. Exhaling to push a bit more deeply. Always deepening these stretches on our